Peppa Pig. Peppa loves our planet. It was Love Our Planet week at Playgroup. Peppa and her friends were very excited. "Welcome, children," said Madame Gazelle, pointing to a picture of the world. "This is Earth, the planet we live on." "Wow!" gasped the children. "The little things we do to look after our planet can make a big difference," continued Madame Gazelle. "Can anybody think of some things we can do to help?" "Recycle," cried Peppa. "Use less water," said Pedro Pony. "Grow our own snacks," squeaked Rebecca Rabbit. "Walk, not drive," said Zoe Zebra. "Save electricity," barked Danny Dog, switching off the light. "All excellent ideas," said Madame Gazelle. "Well done, but let's turn the lights back on for now, Danny, so we can see." "Okay," said Danny. "Now, children, I'd like you each to make a Love Our Planet scrapbook at home," said Madame Gazelle. "You can fill it with all the things you do to help look after our planet and then bring it in for show and tell." "Ooh!" gasped Peppa and her friends excitedly. They loved making scrapbooks and they loved show and tell. At home time, Daddy Pig arrived with Peppa and George's scooters. "Can we scooter home every day, Daddy?" asked Peppa. "It will be better for our planet if we don't use the car." "Great idea, Peppa," said Daddy Pig. "I love scootering." Daddy Pig raced off and Peppa and George scootered after him. "Wait for us, Daddy!" cried Peppa. When they got home, Peppa and George helped Mummy and Daddy Pig with dinner. "If we put the peelings in the waste bin, Grandpa can use the compost for his garden," said Peppa. "Then he can look after our planet too." "Lovely idea, Peppa," said Mummy Pig. "We can take them to Grandpa tomorrow." The next day, Peppa and George scootered over to Granny and Grandpa Pig's house with the food waste bin. "Thank you, Peppa," said Grandpa Pig, thrilled with his gift. "Over time, these peelings will turn into compost, which will be very fantastic food for my plants and will help my garden grow very nicely." "And it will help look after our planet," said Peppa. Then Grandpa Pig had a surprise. He gave Peppa and George a window box to take home. "These flowers are very important," he explained. "Bees and butterflies love them. We need insects to help plants make seeds." "Thank you, Grandpa," cried Peppa, buzzing around and pretending to be a bee. "I'm a busy bee, looking after our planet. Buzz, buzz," George giggled. When they arrived home from Granny and Grandpa Pig's house, Peppa and George watered their lovely new window box. "Look, George," cried Peppa. "All these bees and butterflies have come to visit our new flowers. We're looking after our planet." After lunch, it was time to pop to the shops. "Daddy, remember to bring some old shopping bags so we don't have to get new ones," said Peppa. "Great idea, Peppa," said Daddy Pig, picking up some shopping bags to reuse. "Right, let's go." Just as they were leaving, George pointed to the light switch. "He wants to turn off the light to look after our planet," explained Peppa. "Thank you, George," said Mummy Pig. I'll do it for you. From now on, your job can be to remind us to turn off the lights." George grinned. He was very happy with his new job. That evening, Peppa and George tidied up and put everything into the right recycling bins. "Let's sing the recycling song," said Peppa. "Recycle, recycle, we're going to recycle tin cans, bottles, newspapers. Recycle, recycle, we're going to recycle." "We'll take everything to Mr. Bull's recycling depot tomorrow," said Mummy Pig. "But there's still one more thing left for us to do today." "Our scrapbooks," cheered Peppa. Peppa and George used some of the cardboard from the recycling bin to make their Love Our Planet scrapbooks. Then they drew and stuck in pictures of all the different things they had done to help look after our planet. "Wow, what lovely scrapbooks," said Daddy Pig. "They're recycled, Daddy," said Peppa proudly. At bedtime, Daddy Pig was the last one to brush his teeth. "Make sure you turn off the tap while you're brushing, Daddy," said Peppa. "That way you won't waste any water." "Slank slapper," mumbled Daddy Pig through a mouthful of toothpaste. The next morning at playgroup, Peppa, George and their friends showed Madame Gazelle their Love Our Planet scrapbooks. "Fantastic work, children," said Madame Gazelle. "You found lots of ways to look after our planet. I hope you've all learned that when it comes to looking after our planet, every little thing makes a big difference," shouted Peppa and her friends, finishing Madame Gazelle's sentence for her. Peppa, George and their friends love our planet. Everyone loves our planet. The end. Peppa Pig, Recycling Fun. Mr. Bull, the bin man, is collecting the rubbish. It is early in the morning, so he tries to be as quiet as he can. Crash, smash, splash! But Mr. Bull is not very good at being quiet. "Hello, Mr. Bull," snorts Daddy Pig, Peppa and George. "Hello, everyone," says Mr. Bull. Peppa and George are helping to clear up the breakfast things. "We don't put bottles in the rubbish bin. They can be recycled," says Mummy Pig. Soon they have collected enough things, so Peppa and her family set off for the recycle centre. Mummy Pig has the bottles and Peppa has the tin cans. George has the newspapers. "Is everybody ready?" asked Daddy Pig. "Yes," shout Peppa and George. Clink, clink, rattle, rattle, rustle, rustle. Soon they arrive at Miss Rabbit's recycle centre. Miss Rabbit is sitting up high, up inside a big crane. She is busy recycling all the rusty old cars. It is very noisy. "Who knows which bin the bottles go in?" asks Mummy Pig. "The green one," says Peppa. "That's right," snorts Daddy Pig. Clink, clink. "And the cans go in the blue one," says Peppa. "Well done, Peppa," says Mummy Pig. Rattle, rattle. Daddy Pig lifts George up so he can empty the newspapers into the red bin. Rustle, rustle. "Where's our car gone?" asks Daddy Pig. "Stand back," shouts Miss Rabbit from up above them. Miss Rabbit is about to recycle Peppa's car. "Stop!" shouts Peppa. "Our car isn't old and rusty." "Ha ha, silly me," says Miss Rabbit. "I just love recycling." "So do we," laughs Peppa. "But we also love our little car." The end. Peppa Pig and the Earth Day Adventure. It's Earth Day, and Peppa Pig and her family are ready to celebrate with a visit to the botanical gardens.
Wow! Hooray!
Before they go, Peppa and George sort the recycling. Newspapers go in the red bin, cans go in the blue bin, and bottles go in the green bin.
Vegetable scraps and eggshells go into the compost bin, says Peppa. Grandpa Pig will use the compost in his garden.
Ew, says George. It's time to go, and Daddy Pig has a surprise. An electric car. This car runs on batteries instead of gas. That helps the air stay clean. The car even has a name. It is called Roger. This car can drive itself, says Daddy Pig. Peppa and George look out the window on the way to the botanical gardens.
Look, says Peppa, a windmill.
Ew, says George.
Mr. Bull built a windmill near my school,
says Peppa.
The wind turns the blades and they make electricity.
Whoosh, says George. At the botanical gardens, Peppa and her family meet Miss Rabbit.
Welcome,
she says.
Would you like to see the wildflower garden? Yes, please,
says Peppa.
Look at all the bees,
says Mammy Pig. The bees and flowers help each other. Miss Rabbit tells them.
The bees take pollen from one flower and move it to another one. That helps the flower make seeds which grow into new flowers.
Wow!
Peppa and her family visit the room with cacti and palm trees. Peppa sees a new plant.
What is that?
She says.
That's a Venus flytrap,
Miss Rabbit says.
It eats flies.
Peppa and George watch while the plant eats a fly.
Wow,
says Peppa.
Jump,
says George. The next room is very wet.
This is a rainforest garden,
says Miss Rabbit.
These plants need lots of water.
Miss Rabbit flips a switch and turns on the rain. Next, they head outside to the children's garden, where they find something really special. A muddy puddle. Peppa's friends are visiting the botanical gardens today too.
Hello, Susie Sheep. Hello, Pedro Pony. Hello, Mandy Mouse,
she says. On the way home, Daddy has a rest while Roger drives the car.
Wow!
It's like magic,
says Peppa. Police officers, Panda and Squirrel stop Daddy Pig's car because Daddy Pig doesn't have his hands on the wheel. But it's okay, Roger is driving. Roger shows his driver's license to the officers. It's dark when the family returns home. It has been a great Earth Day.
Will you be all right out here, Roger?
asked Peppa.
Oh, yes, says Roger. Good night, Peppa. Good night, Roger,
says Peppa.
Happy Earth Day.
Hooray!
The end.
Peppa Pig and the Vegetable Garden. Peppa Pig and her little brother George are playing at Grandpa Pig and Granny Pig's house. They love to help Grandpa Pig in the garden. "What are you doing, Grandpa Pig?" asked Peppa. "I'm planting seeds." "What happens to the seeds?" "They grow into plants. I make a small hole in the ground, put the seed inside and cover it with earth. Then I water it. Everything in my garden grows from seeds like this."
Wow.
"Ouch!" says Grandpa Pig. An apple fell on his head. Peppa and George laugh. Grandpa laughs too. "Look," he says, "inside the apple are more seeds." "To grow more apple trees," says Peppa. "I want to plant a seed," Peppa says. She makes a little hole and puts a seed in it. Then she covers the seed with earth. Grandpa lets her water it. "Now we wait for it to grow," he says. Peppa waits. George waits. They wait and wait and wait. "It's not doing anything," says Peppa. Grandpa Pig laughs. "You have to be patient." "Ah! What's this?" says Peppa. "It's a monster." "Monster," says George. Grandpa Pig laughs. "It's just a little snail." "Arr," says George. "Monster." He likes a snail. "Let's play snails," says Peppa. Grandpa Pig finds some baskets for Peppa and George, and they play snails in the garden. "Look," says Peppa, "a butterfly. Why do butterflies love flowers?" "They drink from flowers," says Grandpa Pig.
Wow.
"They drink the flower's nectar. It's their food." "Look at me, I'm playing butterfly," Peppa shouts. George wants to be a butterfly too. "No, George, I am a butterfly. You can play worm." George doesn't want to play worm. "Come on, George," says Grandpa Pig. "Playing worm is fun." Grandpa Pig shows George how to lie on the ground and wiggle. Soon Peppa wants to play worm too. Grandpa plants some more seeds. He drops them on the ground. But when he turns around, a little bird has eaten them. "Shoo, shoo," says Grandpa. Granny Pig comes to see. "We need a scarecrow," she says. Grandpa Pig brings Peppa and George to his garden shed. "We'll find lots of things in here to make a scarecrow with," he says. He finds sticks, string, some straw, and an old sack. They build the scarecrow, then dress it in some old clothes. Peppa and George paint a face. The birds see the scarecrow. They stop eating Grandpa's seeds. "The birds look sad," says Peppa. "They must be hungry." Granny Pig brings out a bird feeder. "Lunchtime, birds," she calls. Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig have come. Granny Pig needs blackberries to make a pie for lunch. Everybody wants to help. "This blackberry bush has been here since I was a little girl," says Mummy Pig. Mummy Pig climbs a ladder to get to the berries at the top. Oh no! Mummy Pig falls into the bush. Where is she? Mummy Pig is okay, but she looks like a berry bush. Peppa and George pick berries from the mummy bush. Grandpa Pig, Peppa and George finish picking vegetables for lunch.
Hooray!
They make a salad. Granny Pig cuts up a cucumber. I love cucumbers, says Peppa. Yuck, says George. He doesn't like salad. Grandpa has an idea. He gives George a new plate.
Dinosaur!
Says George. He eats his salad. He likes it. He loves Granny Pig's blackberry pie too. Yum! The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's School Day. Peppa is going to school today. All of her friends are there. Today we have a new student, says Madame Gazelle. This is Emily Elephant. Emily is shy. She does not know what to say. Everyone is excited to meet Emily. Can I show Emily how we do show and tell? Asked Peppa. Of course, says Madame Gazelle. Peppa tells the class about her teddy bear.
Wow!
Next, it's free time. What would you like to do today? Peppa asks Emily. There is painting, clay or building blocks. Emily chooses building blocks. Peppa shows Emily how to stack the blocks. You put one on top of another, says Peppa. Like this? asks Emily.
Wow!
Wow, say the children. Emily Elephant is good at stacking blocks.
Hooray!
Next, it's playtime. Come on, Emily, shouts Peppa. At playtime we go outside, says Candy Cat.
Meow!
All the children run outside. First, they go down the slide. Whee! Then they play a game. Who is the loudest? asks Peppa. They all make loud sounds. What a lot of noise. Emily, you try, says Peppa. Emily makes a noise like a trumpet. She is the loudest of all. Can you spin the hula hoop? Susie Sheep asks Emily. Emily can spin the hula hoop. She is good at lots of things.
Wow!
But there is still one game left to play. My favourite game is jumping in muddy puddles, says Peppa. That is my favourite game too, shouts Emily. Peppa and Emily are so happy they are friends. What a nice day at school. The end. Read it yourself. Peppa Pig. Daddy Pig's office. Peppa and George are here to see Daddy Pig's office.
Wow!
What do you do at the office? asked Peppa. You will see, says Daddy Pig. This is the intercom, says Daddy Pig. Can I press the button? asked Peppa. Yes, says Daddy Pig. Peppa says hello into the intercom. This is the lift, says Daddy Pig. Can I press the button? asked Peppa. Let George have a go this time, says Daddy Pig. George presses the lift button. lift goes up to Daddy Pig's office.
Wow!
Daddy Pig, Peppa and George all go in. This is Mrs. Cat, says Daddy Pig. Hello, Mrs. Cat, says Peppa. This is Mr. Rabbit, says Daddy Pig. Hello, Mr. Rabbit, says Peppa. Peppa and George are here to see the office, says Daddy Pig. This is what I do at my desk, says Mr. Rabbit. He stamps paper with a stamp. Can I have a go? Asks Peppa. Yes, says Mr. Rabbit. Stamp, stamp, stamp. This is what I do at my desk, says Mrs. Cat.
Meow.
She has a computer and a printer.
Wow!
Can I have a go? Asked Peppa. No, let George have a go now, says Daddy Pig. Mrs. Cat lifts George up. He has a go on the computer and printer. Print, print, print. Peppa and George are printing with Mrs. Cat's printer.
Hooray!
Look at all this paper, says Mrs. Cat.
Meow.
It's time to go and see my desk, says Daddy Pig. Do you have a stamps and a computer? Asked Peppa. No, says Daddy Pig, but I have pens. Pens are the best. Can I have a go? Asked Peppa. Peppa and George like Daddy Pig's pens. This is good, says Peppa. Draw, draw, draw. Time to go now, says Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig's office is good.
Wow!
I like Mr. Rabbit's job and I like Mrs. Cat's job, but I like your job the best, Daddy, says Peppa. The end.
Hi kids, did you have fun watching this video? Then like and subscribe for more.